God damn, that's beautiful. You're welcome, Canada.
I have never met anyone whose favorite character is Green Lantern. Green Lantern isn't even my favorite character, but over the last year or so, I've learned to appreciate and even love the mythos and character of Green Lantern. Through shows like Justice League and comic book runs like Geoff Johns' spectacular run from 2004 to 2013, I no longer see Green Lantern as brash, boring, and annoying. Instead, I see stories about a man overcoming adversity and mastering his emotions. So, today I want to talk about Green Lantern and why exactly I learned to love him. But first, I think I need to explain a little bit about Green Lantern's real-life history and his comic history. Green Lantern was created by Martin Nodell and Bill Finger in 1940 for DC Comics. The first Green Lantern was Alan Scott, a normal man who acquired a magic lantern and used it to create a magic ring which gave him various powers that he used to fight crime. The Alan Scott Green Lantern run ran for 38 issues, but the series was canceled in 1949 due to declining popularity of superheroes after World War II. But eventually, the title was revived in 1959 with the character Hal Jordan taking on the mantle of Green Lantern. If you don't know anything about Hal's backstory, he's a pilot that is chosen by the Ring after dying Green Lantern Abin Sur crash lands on Earth. You may ask, how does the ring work and where did it come from? It chooses a new wearer by the strength of their willpower and their ability to overcome fear. The ring creates constructs, shields, and weapons, all from the user's imagination, using the green light of willpower. Green willpower is one of 9 emotions on the emotional spectrum. The ring is charged by a lantern-shaped battery by putting the ring up to it and reciting the lantern oath. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. The rings come from the Guardians of Oa, an ancient race believed to be the first intelligent race in the universe. They created the Green Lantern Corps to maintain peace in the universe. They house the central power battery that powers the lanterns on their planet Oa. Hal Jordan went on to be incredibly popular, having his own title that ran from 1960 to 1972, and he was a founding member of the Justice League. During this run, many more lanterns were introduced, including fan favorites like Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart. Although Hal Jordan had been very popular over his 12-year run, through the late 70s and all of the 80s, his popularity started to dwindle, and DC had him retooled multiple times to try to increase readership. In the 90s, they started the Parallax arc, which did increase readership but was divisive among fans. The Parallax arc happened after a very good run called Emerald Twilight, where Hal's home of Coast City was destroyed, and for years it was believed that he had lost his mind and killed the Guardians and the Green Lantern Corps as a result. During Hal's time as Parallax, Kyle Rayner took over as the main Green Lantern of Sector 2814. I just want to say really quick that Kyle Rayner is probably the most underrated Green Lantern. His backstory is that he's an art student that becomes a Green Lantern, and you can definitely see that in the books. His constructs are some of the most creative of any Lantern, and honestly, I think they are the most creative. Kyle Rayner's awesome. In 2004, after Hal's awesome miniseries as the Spectre, go check that out by the way, it is amazing. Geoff Johns revived Hal Jordan as the main Green Lantern and revealed that Parallax was actually a cosmic entity that embodied fear, and it took over Hal for years and caused him to be a villain. This retcon was decisive. Some people liked seeing Hal as a villain, and they were hoping to get to see real character development and watch him work through his evil actions and be better afterwards. A lot of people think that making him possessed by Parallax robbed him of that character development. I personally like it. It ties well into the mythos that Geoff Johns would build later, but I mean, of course, when you're reading it as it's coming out, you don't know that at the time. During Johns' decade-long run on Green Lantern, he wrote classic stories like Sinestro Corps War, Sins of the Star Sapphire, Blackest Night, and Brightest Day, which all built up the mythos of the lanterns across the universe. So, who are the rest of the lanterns? Yellow lanterns are fueled by fear, red lanterns by rage, orange lanterns by avarice, blue lanterns by hope, indigo lanterns by compassion, and violet lanterns by love. And they're all tied together by a prophecy saying that they would all have to unite together in a war of light to prevent the blackest night. While Green Lantern was doing amazing in the 2000s with his comic books, 2011 rolled around and the Green Lantern movie was released theatrically across the world, and it turned out to become one of the worst flops in Hollywood history. The movie had a budget of $200 million, and it only made $219 million off it, meaning that they only made $19. No, I meant meaning that they only made $219 million. I'm sure that many of you watching are familiar with the Green Lantern movie because it has been the butt of Ryan Reynolds' jokes for the past 15 years. From having Deadpool kill a version of Ryan Reynolds where he's reading the Green Lantern script at the end of Deadpool 2, to saying that the movie prioritized special effects over character development, Ryan Reynolds has not been the biggest fan of the Green Lantern movie. And in my opinion, Ryan Reynolds has done a lot of damage to Green Lantern's image over the years. But of course, it wasn't just Ryan Reynolds that made people not like Green Lantern. The movie wasn't great, and it buried the already dwindling public opinion of Green Lantern. Now that you know the history of Green Lantern, I can talk about why I love him and what made me love him. My first real exposure to Green Lantern was through the shows Justice League and Justice League Unlimited with their use of Jon Stewart. I was immediately intrigued by Jon Stewart because of the way that he grounds the Justice League. As much as people want to say that Batman grounds the Justice League, I think it's more Green Lantern, specifically Jon Stewart, because of his ability to have like a militant, no-nonsense attitude, but be warm and caring all at the same time. People often say that Batman grounds the Justice League for that same reason, but honestly, I think that Green Lantern just does that better than Batman. He's more human. I also love the arc with Hawkgirl at the end of Justice League Season 2, and how Jon Stewart is intertwined in that story, and how that story affects Justice League Unlimited. Jon Stewart in that show, to me, just was a complete badass that was a big teddy bear. Yeah, he was kind of rough around the edges and he could be mean at times, but ultimately you could tell that he cared for the people that he was helping, and he cared for the people on his team. And I think characters like Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and The Flash really made Justice League and Justice League Unlimited feel like a family show. This was an extremely hidden memory of mine, but I used to watch the Green Lantern animated series as a kid while it was airing on Cartoon Network, and I remember being obsessed with it. I loved it so much and I was so intrigued by it that honestly I was shocked that I forgot about that show for as many years as I did. As a kid, watching this show that primarily took place in space, I remember loving the diversity within the Corps and how every character was unique and different from one another. And of course, I mean, it was classic comic design, but we just need to give a lot of love to the designs of the Green Lantern Corps. I love the aesthetics of Oa, and I love how every suit is a little similar to one another, but slightly different, and has more of a personality to each one. It was also my first exposure to really great character interactions between Hal and characters like Kilowog and Sinestro. There were two DC animated movies that I watched when I was a kid and more into my teen years that have Hal Jordan Green Lantern in them, and I love them. Those two movies are Justice League Doom and Green Lantern First Flight. They both really convinced me of how great a character Hal is, and especially with that scene in Justice League Doom when Star Sapphire poisons Hal with Scarecrow's fear toxin and almost convinces him to kill himself because he hallucinates that he caused the death of innocent people. I don't know how you couldn't love that, but that is peak. That is amazing character writing. It shows just how empathetic and human Hal is. My favorite comic run that I've read so far for Green Lantern is, of course, Geoff Johns' run from 2004 to 2013. I cannot stress enough how amazing this run is. I'm not completely done with it, and honestly, I've read a little out of order, but I know enough about the mythos and I've read enough to truly believe that from what I have read, this is the best Green Lantern story arc. Overall, I'm really glad that I've learned to appreciate Green Lantern. I feel like he has a similar effect as Superman, where Superman teaches us to be responsible, optimistic, and determined. Green Lantern teaches us that deep down we can overcome anything, whether that's fear or the sadness in my heart every time I hear Ryan Reynolds joke about Green Lantern. Seriously though, I think that Green Lantern is a very, very valuable and very underrated character among the ridiculous amount of characters that we have in the DC universe. I mean, making just this video about Green Lantern, which isn't one character, but a million, and everybody has a different favorite, that was tough. But I hope that you can walk away from this and love Green Lantern as I have. And seriously, I really want you to read Geoff Johns' Green Lantern run. It will change your life. Really quick, I do want to talk about a bright spot in the future of Green Lantern, which is the Lanterns show. Lanterns was set to release in mid-2026, but a couple days before recording this, it was announced that it would be released in early 2026, which I am super excited for. Lanterns is supposed to follow a older Hal Jordan and a younger John Stewart, where Hal mentors John, and they have a kind of true detective-like mystery to solve in a small town. When I heard James Gunn say that Lanterns was going to be partly inspired by True Detective, I lost my mind. The first season of True Detective is genuinely one of, if not the most unique thing I have ever seen on television. Okay, that's not true. I've seen Twin Peaks. That's definitely the most unique. But True Detective is second. I don't want to get too off topic and rant about True Detective too much, but the way that they crafted that story and held suspense and really had you wondering what is happening makes me extremely curious and hopeful for the Lantern show. Also, the use of time jumps in True Detective makes me wonder that hopefully there will be flashbacks to when Hal Jordan's younger and he is maybe being trained by Sinestro, or he's Parallax even. Just flashbacks that would give us more backstory on Hal as a character. Lanterns is supposed to be set through John Stewart's eyes. He's going to be our main character, and he is most likely going to be our Green Lantern for the DCU Justice League, which picturing him and David Cornsweet together is amazing casting. I love the idea of them together in my head. Pause. But anyways, I'm super excited for Lanterns, and I feel like it'll be great. I also heard that there's going to be a new animated show called My Adventures with Green Lantern. I'm pretty sure, if I am remembering correctly, it follows a Jessica Cruz that is in high school that becomes a Green Lantern. I think that's super cool, and that is a really cool concept. But if it's going to be tied into the same universe as My Adventures with Superman, I would really prefer to see Hal or maybe Kyle, but Jessica Cruz is great too. Thank you for watching. I really love Green Lantern, and I hope that you walk away from this video with at least a curiosity into the character and how great he really is. I appreciate you watching. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
It's an honor to fight beside you.
The feeling's mutual. You're a credit to your people, son.
Thanks.